What is up, ProGuides family? The time has come for our mid-patch update tier list. We got the challenger recommendations and we got the data to back it up as well. This is the most reliable tier list you'll find. I hope you guys pick up some of these champions and start climbing the ranks and getting that elo. And for our question of the day, guys, who is your favorite North American pro player? Let me know down below. We're gonna reach out to them. We're gonna get them onto those live classes for you guys. If you guys haven't already joined our classes, they are on our YouTube channel every day at 10:30 a.m. PST. Pobelter will actually be teaching one of these classes on Friday and Saturday, so please join us for that fun. All right, guys, let's get into the video. First up, let's talk about the top laners. Our S plus and S tiers remain unchanged. Those Wukong nerfs have definitely made him a little bit weaker, but he's still a prominent force in the top lane. His insane damage, tankiness, trickiness, and crowd control make him stand out above the rest of the other top laners. He currently holds an insane 46% ban rate, and for good reason. This monkey is literally pick or ban every single game. Even farming up and breaking even is fine because of how impactful he is during team fights with his ultimate. On top of this, dueling with Wukong can be quite difficult as he's able to use his W to dodge crucial abilities you'd want to throw at him. Overall, we still have Darius, Fiora, and Wukong in the S plus tier, and in the S tier we have Garen, Mordekaiser, Shen, Kled, Set, and Kalista. Garen remains in the S tier in spite of his nerfs. He's still definitely a good pick in low elo, but he definitely doesn't feel like the same laning titan as before. There's a lot more counterplay to him now, but he can still stand his ground against many of his opponents. A pick worth talking about though is Riven. The minor buffs she received have actually pushed her win rate up more than you'd expect. She's gained close to 1% in her win rate, just coming to show how volatile a champion like Riven is to even the slightest balance changes. I was joking last video and I was like, oh yeah, Riven and buff, very scary, right? Actually, it is. Even that small buff brought her win rate up an entire percent. In the right hands, Riven is definitely a top tier pick, but overall, she's not quite on the same level as our S plus and most S tier picks because of consistency. She's definitely a feast or famine type champion, but for players who have put the time into her, she's a champion that's extremely rewarding right now. And if you guys have naturally good mechanics, I would definitely try her out. Nasus though, oh boy, I really want to talk about this guy. If you guys are gold or below, Nasus is S plus tier. Yes, you have the green light to lock him in. If you're platinum or higher, he's still a solid pick right now. The buff to his W has been extremely good for him. I'm sure that most of us are aware that Nasus's backline access is definitely lacking. However, the fact that his W's cast range was buffed this patch makes it a little bit more feasible for him to reach his targets, even ones that have a little bit more range. Without amping up his damage too much, Riot has successfully brought Nasus up to a competent power level, and we've decided to shove him into our A tier overall. I know some of you guys might hate this guy, but he holds a 53% win rate in bronze and silver. Don't underestimate him and pick him up for some free wins if you're trying to make the climb. Alright guys, let's talk about the jungle changes next. Our S plus tier in the jungle has a new addition in, once again, Wukong. He's popping off everywhere, and again, he's a pick or ban as a jungler too. The nerfs really didn't do too much to his jungle strength, and he's had a chance to flourish in this role. Aside from him though, we welcome back Elise, Warwick, and Zac as they're still dominating solo queue across all ranks. Our S tier remains unchanged with Lee Sin, Olaf, Rek'Sai, Karthus, Shaco, Trundle, Nunu, Echo, and Graves. It's a pretty long list, but all of these champions are incredible at what they do best. Whether it's ganking, dueling, or power farming, these champions are masters of their craft. Make sure to pick these guys up because a lot of them, like Trundle, are surprisingly uncontested in spite of their amazing strength. Alright, now let's talk about the shifts on the list. Our initial reaction to Fiddle is that he seems quite powerful, but players are still getting used to him. We've decided to place him in the A tier until further notice. Fiddlesticks' damage, crowd control, and ability to stir fights allude to him being a promising pick in the jungle following his rework. Currently, he's sitting at a 45% win rate, but hopefully within a month's time, players will have a better grasp of how to play him effectively. With some solid vision control, Fiddlesticks has the potential to fear 5 opponents with his ultimate now. Its immense AoE damage now has some crowd control attached to it, easily making it one of the most impactful ultimates in the game when the stars align. He's definitely stronger than his former self as a jungler. Next up, Xin Zhao received a buff in the late game. This has made him a competent pick in low elo and further increased his strength in high elo. Before this patch, he held a negative win rate in gold and below, but this buff has helped him a ton and he's finally made it past the 50% mark. As games tend to stall out and go longer in low elo, this comes as no surprise that his win rate went up so much. On top of this, Phase Rush was also buffed for melee champions this patch, so he has some newfound strength in more than one place. In high elo, players have always been able to abuse his insane gank potential, and having a little more late game strength definitely doesn't hurt. I don't know if you guys have been playing TFT, but he feels pretty cranked there as well, and this buff puts him close to his TFT counterpart's power level if you're asking me. Alright, that's a wrap for the jungle, now let's head into the mid lane. Like the other roles, the mid lane doesn't host many changes. The S Plus and S tiers remain unchanged, with Fizz and Diana still dominating in the S Plus tiers. Next up we have Kassadin, Katarina, Echo, Cassiopeia, Vladimir, Zed, Yasuo, Kiana, and Talon in the S tier. To follow up on those Talon nerfs, he's still an incredibly powerful pick. Those nerfs definitely made him a bit weaker, but in spite of them, Talon hasn't slowed down one bit. He's still an incredibly impactful pick, especially in high elo because of how powerful his roams are. Talon can traverse the map quickly and snowball hard when he pulls off successful roams, and given the nature of solo queue, it's only to be expected that Talon is still this strong. Nocturne received nerfs in the mid lane this patch, but he's been destroying his competition nonetheless. Riot might have gone too soft on those nerfs, and we're pushing Nocturne back to the bottom of A tier. Speaking of the A tier, however, we have to talk about Galio. He's made his heroic entrance and he is back, boys and girls. If you guys were following our channel last season, you knew that we were just shitting all over Galio. And with good reason, because he basically just disappeared from the meta once they released Taunt Flash. But the buffs he received recently were huge. Our analysts thought that this would be one of those strong on paper but weak in practice buffs, but it actually turned out we were wrong. Galio's magic shield, upon catching allies in his ult, is both strong on paper and in practice. In fact, his win rate has soared up to 51%, and that's pretty phenomenal. Guess those Galio memes can finally come to an end. Or maybe we'll just see a new wave of them. He's a great answer to AP champions, and guess which lane has most of them? Alright, now on to the guy with the big package. Corki's buffs, as expected, didn't do anything. He's seen minuscule gains in his win rate, but they're very, very underwhelming, and he'll stay as a C tier pick for now. Add a little bit more damage or tinker with his base stats and we might see him rise back up, but for now, he's not an amazing pick by any means. Alright guys, that's going to cover the mid lane. Let's head into the bot lane next. Our bottom tier list remains relatively unchanged. The only major balance changes we saw were a buff to Kai'Sa, but she'll remain untouched in the S tier. In our S plus tier, we still have Misfortune, as you guys would expect. Following her in the S tier are Senna, Ezreal, Vayne, Lucian, Caitlyn, Jinx, Kai'Sa, and Draven. Draven has been killing it, and he's definitely earned his place in the S tier because of his insane lane pressure, as well as how hard he can bully his opponents. We have, however, bumped Yasuo up to the A tier. Especially in low elo, players seem to struggle heavily against Yasuo's insane kill pressure and his wind wall. Everyone struggles to play against Yasuo's wind wall. Oh, thank God, I thought it was just me. It's one of the strongest abilities in the game, and players in low elo especially do not like playing against it. The fact that you can nullify nearly every marksman for 4 seconds provides an immense amount of power. He's been silently dominating the bot lane, and while he's still pretty slept on down in the bot lane, the more experienced players down there are hard carrying with him. As Enchanter supports are becoming more popular, it's no surprise that pairing him with an aggressive pick like Alistar and Rakan make him a solo queue stomping machine. Alright guys, that's it for the mid lane. Let's wrap things up with support. The S Plus and S tiers remain unchanged since our last update video for supports as well. In the S Plus tier, we still have Leona and Blitzcrank because of how much pressure they can bring to games. Following them, we have Thresh, Nautilus, Nami, Pyke, Morgana, Lulu, and Bard. I definitely feel like Bard is a little bit underrated still. Sure, a lot of players play him, but I don't think enough players really understand how strong this guy is. He's so incredibly versatile and able to win games off of a single ultimate. Admittedly though, I have seen a ton of awful Bards, and it's pretty easy for them to throw games as well. Galio, following his buffs, is doing much better as a support as well. His win rate has climbed significantly and we're bumping him up to the B tier as a result. Although it's a lot harder for him to find those free engages now, Galio still deals an incredible amount of damage alongside bringing some hard crowd control for him and his lane partner to work with. Especially through using brushes, Galio provides a ton of kill pressure against overextended opponents, and he remains as one of the best protectors in the game as he can sit on top of his carries during teamfights and just uses W and his ultimate to peel for them. Fiddlesticks, on the other hand, following his rework, feels a lot weaker as a support. A lot of his power came from his old E, which would throw a crow and it would randomly bounce between enemies, providing some hefty poke damage. With it replaced altogether, there's a lot more counterplay to this, and it serves a different purpose than before. Essentially, Fiddlesticks has lost a little bit of range as a result, because he used to be able to use minions to bounce his crows off of. Now his range is what it is, and he doesn't have the same pressure during the laning phase as he once used to. As a result, we've placed Fiddlesticks into the D tier for supports. As players get more comfortable with him, this may change, but he definitely doesn't feel as strong as he did previously. Alright guys, that concludes our mid-patch update video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And if you guys want to get better at League of Legends, you know where to go. Go to ProGuides.com, find your challenger coach, and start climbing the ladder. Once again, Pobelter will be joining us in our live classes this week, so make sure to stay tuned, 10:30 a.m. PST. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.